Walaikum assalam, Awais, and Gabriel, and Tristana, and NZ27MB, and Iram. Walaikum assalam, Unbeliever. Walaikum assalam. Just 1 second. How are you doing, guys? Oh, still got this bloody cold. Can't shake it. Not cold. Cough. But am I not watching the Hammers? I'm not, Gabriel. I'm not really bothered about the Premier League. We're done. It's all about Europa now. This season's just written off. Just get the Europa. Have you played Unturned before? I haven't played that. Still playing Daisy. Enjoying Daisy. Sorry to waste. I'm enjoying Daisy at the moment. Oh, there's a new game coming out in June called June Awakening. That looks pretty good. June Awakening in June. So we'll do what we usually do. We'll chill for half an hour. We'll put the link out. No, we'll chill for half an hour. Then we'll read something. We'll continue reading from the book of Muhammad Sallallahu. People are already playing it on Twitch. I hate betas. I like to play the full game. But you were thinking of taking the squad there. So we'll see. Inshallah. Walaikum salam, Elijah. Who is the Sheikh in the thumbnail? His name is Sheikh Ali. He's just a good friend. He loves walking the streets like that. He's quite recognizable here. I'm muted. I don't think I'm muted. I don't think I'm muted. Am I muted? I'm sure someone else would have said something prior to. I haven't been gassing for like 5 minutes. How to join the stream for non-Muslims? Yeah, we'll put the link out after I've finished reading. Yeah, the other Sunday Chill and Shop Lies have been privatized at the moment. Trying to save some people from themselves. So we'll chill out for like half an hour and we'll take it from there. The report's still not out. No. Abdul Andalusi, I think he traveled to Pakistan. And so he's got bigger agendas, I'm assuming, on his mind to deal with. Walaikum assalam, Yusuf. How you doing, my man? Oh, nicely pointed out. Why is that still going? How's my sugar intake going? Oh, it's going well. It's going well. I've treated myself here and there. Like, for example, last night for movie night, I had some caramelized nuts. And last week I had some of my wife's Moroccan biscuits because she said you need to eat them before they go kind of off like thing. So I'm not like zero tolerance, but I've touched on here and there just as a little treat. But mashallah, I think the lowest weight I've seen so far, I haven't really weighed myself today. It's too late now because I usually weigh myself in the morning. But I've basically got myself down to down 5 kg. So it's down to 100 and it was 100.6 kg, and we started off 105.7 kg. So, but I'm thinking of restarting my taekwondo. I think that might be good. That'd be a good type of exercise, and I kind of enjoy it. So I'm thinking of maybe implementing that back into my regime. How many weeks did you lose those kg? I think, if I'm not wrong, 5, 6 maybe. 6th of April, 13th of April, 20th of April, 27. Yeah, 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Imagining me doing taekwondo is really funny. Why do you think that's really funny? I'm thinking of maybe making it. I've tried not so many times. So when I was a kid, I was nearly black belt. And then I started again with my daughters for a little bit. And then things happened. We moved area. And I never really picked it up again. And I used my daughters as an excuse. If they didn't go, I didn't go type thing. But I fancy turning up, give me a white belt, freshy, beginner, and make it a kind of goal to achieve black belt status. I'm thinking, and I think it'd be good for, and I've got the right intention as well for the weight loss as well. So the training will be good for that as well. Do you get me? Because it'll be part of the regime. So I'm thinking about it. I think I should. No, I don't want to do Muay Thai. I always remember going when I did do Muay Thai for a little bit, and I was watching some guy training, kicking his shins on walls and stuff, and I was just like, no, I don't fancy that. But the actual taekwondo, I kind of enjoy, and I'm pretty good at it. How are you doing, Sean? Look, I've answered your question. I don't know why you keep repeating the same question. Yeah, honestly. And then you had to spar with these guys, and I was like, forget that. I don't need this. Taekwondo's nice, bit of moves, a lot of the feet, but it's more for the just for the exercise. I think I'm going to be doing it. So we'll see. I'm thinking about it. I've not decided fully yet, but thinking about it. Let's send a message to the trainer if I can find him. I'm sure I saw his videos on TikTok. I kept seeing it, working out, and it was like it inspired me. So maybe I should. I'm sure it was Gil. I'm not going to find it that way. Let me see if I can find him. Did I put him like Gilbert Sensei or something? Yeah, I did. Let's send a raven to him. So, good afternoon, sir. I'm considering starting my journey again. Do you have space for old fat guys? Let's see. We sent the Raven. Oh, is that her name, Aisha? Is that her name? Never known her name. We use stone. We use stone in the UK, but kilograms are easier to watch the drop. Walaikum salam, Tawheed. I can't remember what part we were up to in this book. I need to get Ben to splice these book reading together. We use stone, man. Your name is Sandra. Oh, okay. Never knew your name. Only knew you as Hindsight. I thought we'd read more than this. I'm sure. Feels like we've read more than this. No, we've read more than this. Bloody hell. You rebutted my last short. What was my short? It looks like we got a contender. Let's just. All right. Let me just see what the rebuttal was. What was the short you're referring to? The link is here. What was the short? Remind me. Oh, my old sensei is responding. I wonder if I have to start from. Do I have to start from white belt again, or where I left off, which was probably, I don't know, yellow or green. I don't know. I don't mind starting as a white belt. Let people underestimate me. There's this fat ginger guy with a beard, a white belt. Let me see what this person what was his name? Let me see. Let me put his name in lights a second so we can. I love the way they say it. This one. I actually rebutted your last short. You haven't answered yet. Yeah. What was my last short? What is it you're referring to, if you don't mind? It would really help me. Hmm.
I'm here now to debunk.
Oh, Christianity Debunked. Was it that one? Was that my last one? Okay, let's wait for this character to.
Assalamu alaikum, Junaid is brave. You can change your profile picture. What is your profile? The beliefs and scriptures of Jews did appear to a large extent. The distinctions or the separate. The Orientalist Joan Vernet thingy. Actually, I'll put the link out anyway now. We can put the link out. MashaAllah. The Quran says it's a Muhaymin. Basically says that Islam was the standard that all other religions were measured against. That's called layman kind of. The Dr. Sami Amiri from the Sapien. And it'd be interesting to know when that used to hold the Islamic standard when critique vice versa. Wow. The Islamic critique of Christianity and Judaism had a profound impact on the Jews and Christians of the Middle Ages. Such was this impact that in religious debates, Islamic avenues of critique were treated like evidence by Jews against the Christians and vice versa. Wow. So basically what this book is saying at this point.
Okay, so where was that? That's quite profound, that last statement, actually. Don't know what we got up to. Where's this Christian gone? Looking for truth. The one who said he responded to my latest short. Oh, there we go. You believe that Jesus that is still alive, that the word of Allah is created, but the book that is written down by men is uncreated. You believe that Jesus that is still alive, that is the word of Allah and spirit is created, but the book that is written down by men is uncreated. Okay, which short did I say that in? I don't remember saying that. It seems a conflation of things. I don't think I've spoken about the Quran being created or not. I think this was where we were. Yeah, I don't get involved in all this this business, to be honest with you. I think English language breaks down at these points. Which short was that? The latest short doesn't mention any of that. You said you refuted my latest short. Where were we? So forgive me, I'm trying to find where we finished last time. Can't find it.
Debate. The Zoroastrian challenge in the form of conquering Persia. Proper stuff now.
That same concept is what the Christians tell about Jesus: two things, one spirit, one flesh. Only you have the word. No, now you're just waffling, mate.
Shall we? Amadou Diallo. 31 to me. Congratulations on your 31st name day. See, so I give them a sample of Daisy. Careful what you wish for. Well, it's too late now. Too late. Oh, it's the history of Jews in Spain during some Christians during it. One indication for the verbatim, the beliefs and script have been refined by its started in the first. There's obviously beliefs and the Holy Script from Sapiens Institute. We've read quite a lot so far, even though we're only reading a few pages at a time. So let's get to the next chapter, which is referred to as biblical criticism. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready, Shaunus? Biblical criticism. During the era of prophethood, religious criticism of beliefs and the Holy Scriptures was alien to global intellectual capital.
Okay, religious criticism. So I found where we started. What do you mean when the time is right? You can jump on now. The link is here. I don't mind. We'll pin the link for you. Oh, let me just change my account. There you go. It's pinned. So you can jump on, man. Come and tell us. Deism and theoretical problems. We did that. Deism. What about Christianity? Mirror of the Protestant Fabrication. My brother, today's Mother's Day. I tried communicating a lot with you, but you blocked me, blocked comments. No, I didn't. I don't block YouTube comments, mate. So I'm not quite sure what you're on about. I really don't understand. I can't even find where I was at, though. It's really annoying me, this now. I don't really care about Barca or Madrid, dude. No, that's incorrect translation. It's not Yasu. 1-0, really? Don't say that. I said we read quite a lot, but... maybe we're here. Yeah, I found it. All right, yep, I found where we are for the reading. That's good. This is what I'm saying. Most of these arguments made by these Christians are basically founding on false premises majority of the time. So this is one error, and then once you have the error, then you try to build upon that error. And I'm pretty confident Looking for Truth doesn't speak Arabic. I'm pretty confident. So he's regurgitating something maybe Christian Prince said or something like that. Do you get me? Is the game live? Is the game live, Yusuf? Is it on now, or is it on Sky, or is it on the other one? Let's have a look. West Ham. Who's in our lineup? Let's look at our lineup. Bay and Day in goal. Okay. Mazarawi, Yoro, Shaw, Diallo, Menu, Ugarte, Amas, Mount, Fernandez, and Hoyland. Pretty strong lineup. Okay. Oh, it's not on TV. Then how can I watch it? Well, I could watch it, but yeah. Let's see what Gilbert the Sensei said. Hi, you're welcome to join us. Thursdays, 7 till 8 p.m. Sunday seniors. Oh, they're seniors. Will I come back as a freshie? Thursday, 7 till 8 p.m. So just an hour. That's good. And beginners class. Oh God, they must be intense though for an hour. Beginners class 11:15 to 12:30. Red stripes and below. Okay, will I come back as a freshie? Is the question. Oh, you're wasting our time looking for truth. All right, no problem. I thought you said what was my? Tell me the short that you've refuted though. What is the? Oh, you thought I was talking about Daisy. No, I'm not talking about Daisy yet. What is the short that you watched that you'd give a rebuttal to? That's I don't know. I've not responded to. What is it you think? Which short is it? The last one of Jesus. This one. Let's have a look. 1 second. Okay. This one.
Now to debunk Christianity in less than a minute. And to do so, I'll need my first witness, Jesus of Nazareth. Okay, so Jesus teaches in the Gospel of John that the only true God is the Father. Who's that? The only true God is the Father. For those at the back, the only true God is the Father. If the only true God is the Father, then Jesus cannot be God. If Jesus is God, then it means he's lying. If he's lying, it means he isn't God. Therefore, if Jesus says the Father is the only true God, he isn't God. If he's lying about the Father being the only true God, he isn't God. Therefore, Jesus debunks Christianity in less than a minute. Christians, you're welcome. I'm here now to debunk.
Okay, so how did you rebut that? What was your rebuttal? What was your rebuttal? Walico sounds smart forever. Now you have Jesus in the book. No. What's your rebuttal to that? When Jesus says the Father is the only true God, what's your rebuttal? Is the Father not the only true God? Is Jesus the Father? What is it? You won't get to hide in my comment section. You'll have to come live. You said you rebutted me. What's your rebuttal? So far, I've just seen waffle from you. So address my point. That's why, Saeed. That's why. To ask why to that question is ridiculous. Yeah, you rebutted something that your rebuttal was a non sequitur, from what I can see. Deal with what I'm saying. Who do you believe the only true God is looking for truth? Who do you believe the only true God is? It isn't rocket science. Walaikum salam, Sharp. How you doing, dude? The car tent is your office, bro. Just so you know. So you can kick all that stuff out of there and make it your home. Abdul Wahab, I'm good, my brother. We need raid drivers. We need raid drivers. We're going to have to hit gas zones. I wanted to do a raid tonight, but I think what we'll do tonight is we'll farm raid drivers for a raid tomorrow night. You've got 2 targets in mind, but we need raid drivers or it's pointless. Oh, shut up looking for truth. Why does the Quran quote Paul? Oh, flipping heck. That just tells me everything I need to know about you. That just tells me everything I need to know. We can hit Tissy. Yeah, we'll hit Tissy tonight. Are you up for a late one? We'll go when it's it. My ATV's gone at the moment though. I haven't got a vehicle because it sank into the ground. Who's Dan? Me and Ben were considering, should we, because we've got so many gladiators now, we could potentially do an arena every week. We could potentially do an arena every week because we've got so many up-and-coming young lads. We've got so many da'is now, mashallah, that we could effectively make every Friday arena nights. Really seriously considering it. Do you get me? We are seriously considering it. No, my name's not Dan. Let's see what my sensei says. Do I come back as what? Would I come back as a freshie or? So beginners class is 11:15 till 12:30 p.m. Okay, 11:15 to 12:30 p.m. It seems like Quran is talking to the men, mostly not women, when it comes to the pleasures in heaven. Oh my Gideon. Are you aware that men and women are mentioned equally in the Quran? That's how equal they are. The believing men and the believing women. So the only difference between men and women is what do women desire in heaven. See, the thing about heaven, paradise, Jannah, is you'll get your heart's desire. So whatever you desire, you shall have, inshallah. No, we've got 2. Yeah, we've only got 1 at the moment because mine's sunk into the ground. But they should replace it. They should replace it. I had 5 sheets of metal as well in a barrel that I lost as well. I need that back as well. We did metal farm. We got 7 sheets of metal last night. We need metal. It sank into the road. It didn't sink into it just bugged out. Oh, women don't want multiple spouses. Yeah, another ticket. Yeah, exactly. They're ignoring me, man. No one's responded yet. I don't know whether Bag's on holiday or whatever, but no response to my ticket yet. Also, we could hit the bunker. If I got a chance to study a fiqh, it's not my lane. It's not my focus. Other people can do those jobs. I've got a different job to do, so I don't do that. Should we get on with the reading? Do I keep a count of all the people who help see the truth? I don't. Subhanallah. Okay, so let's read the next few pages. Okay, so we continue reading from the book Is Muhammad Sallallahu Truly a Prophet of God by Dr. Sami Amari from the Sapiens Institute. The importance of worldly knowledge. Many non-Muslim researchers assert that the greatest miracle of Islam is the creation of a nation of knowledge, prior to which the pre-Islamic desert Arabs were virtually nothing, with rampant unletteredness. Had it not been for the prophetic mission that arose in the Arabian Peninsula, history would not have remembered the Arabs of the 7th century at all, other than the notion that they were a bunch of tribes far removed from the vibrance of civilization and the prevalence of new ideas. The miracle of the Prophet of Islam was a book that guides to the ways of righteousness. Its meanings are its building blocks. Connecting the mind to the world is its mortar, and linking the world to action is its stated aim. It is a comprehensive outlook on existence, a path to walk on, and a goal to aspire for. That is why the book is the fuel of a renaissance, whose fire lit up the hearts that had never previously known anything other than amassing means to stay alive in the lethal Arabian desert. Bedouin life meant that they had no aspirations of ever rivaling or coming close to the glorious neighboring of civilizations of the Romans or the Persians. Ever since the prophetic mission, the veneration of seeking knowledge had been firmly implanted in the Muslim mind, and likewise the contempt for not doing so. Scholars in Islam are considered the stars of society, and in the reference points are where those with political power look towards in appreciation of their authority. This is all part and parcel of a nation that treats faith as knowledge and is disbelief as ignorance. It is a direct result of the Quran and the prophetic tradition, demanding that scholars be treated with the same respect as they are. He said, are they better? Oh, sorry. He said, the Arabic man, are they better, or those who worship their Lord devoutly in the hours of the night, prostrating and standing, fearing the hereafter and hoping for the mercy of their Lord? Say, O Prophet, are those who know equal to those who do not know? None will be mindful except people of reason. This is in the Quran, chapter 39:9. And then in the Quran, chapter 58:11, He will elevate those gifted with knowledge in rank, and Allah is all aware of what you do. And in Quran 35:27-28, do you not see that Allah sends down rain from the sky with which we bring forth different colors, and fruits of different colors, and in the mountains are streaks of varying shades of white, red, and raven black, just as people, living beings, and cattle are of various colors as well. Of all of Allah's servants, only the knowledgeable are in awe of Him. Allah is indeed Almighty, all forgiving. Furthermore, the people of knowledge are described as fearing God. This follow verse is speaking of some of nature's phenomena, which is indicative that this praise is fundamentally for those who work in the worldly sciences, and not primarily the disciplines of the Sharia. The Prophet of Islam said, "Whoever seeks a path seeking knowledge therein, Allah shall make the path to paradise easy for him." In spite of being a nation that does not read or write, he also took a great interest in the companions learning how to read and write, to the extent that he decreed that the ransom of some Badr prisoners of war was for them to teach writing to the children of the Ansar. In the pursuit of knowledge and conveying it, Muslims celebrated the Quran. The sitting of major scholars witnessed thousands in attendance. Criers stand between rows shouting, and the lines of lecturers, so that the gathering, the eager to gain knowledge, could hear them. The manufacturing of paper also flourished. Professional copyists appeared in the major Islamic cities. Khalifs took interest in building privately owned libraries, through which they compared with other libraries over the wealth of books therein. Public libraries spread in a way never seen before, so much so that public libraries were integrated into schools and hospitals. In Baghdad, the number of books in the Nizamiya College totaled 80,000 volumes. In Cairo, the number of books in medical science and other fields at the Mansour Hospital or the Martistan totaled 100,000. Public libraries were founded through the collaborative efforts of caliphs, businessmen, scholars, and the wealthy. They comprised of multiple rooms and iwans linked by wide corridors, with bookshelves lining up the walls. There were spaces for the copywriting, others for reading and personal reference, others for studies and discussion. Some libraries even had rooms for resting and relaxation, with mats spread out on the floor and curtains draped over the windows, all to cater for every need and means of satisfaction for students of knowledge. These libraries contained a wide number of references, topically arranged, that would assist readers in attaining what they wanted out of the books. Libraries also had a number of employees supervising them, organizing and cataloging books therein, and other services. Library employees included the library manager, the khazin, who would be selected from the most competent scholars, then the librarian, the mundwal or munawilun, who would fetch books for readers and visitors to study, then the copyist, the nasikh, responsible for copywriting books for the library, especially its rare books, and writing in beautiful script. Then you had the translator, the mutarjim, who would translate books from other languages into Arabic. Bookbinder, the mujallid, who would bind books to protect and preserve them from ruin. Then you had the cataloger, or the mufaris, who organized books on shelves and cataloged them for easy referencing. And then you had a general worker who was responsible for cleaning the library and all other required services. Libraries also allowed those who wanted to read off premises to borrow books in exchange for a nominal security fee that would be taken from the borrower, with the exception of students and scholars, as they were not required to do so. In spite of the febrile political situation, many Christian scholars traveled to Muslim lands to study the sciences. One of them was Leonardo Bonacci, more commonly known as Fibonacci, the most renowned mathematician of the Middle Ages. Another was the philosopher Abdul-Had of Bath, who translated Islamic and Arabic works in mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy. In fact, Pope Sylvester II had learned Arabic and was a student of the scholars of Seville and Cordoba. He was an encyclopedic scholar and encouraged Christians to learn Arabic to become aware of the then dominant Islamic culture. Love for the Arabic language and Islamic culture, as well as gathering its works, was the crime of Frederick II, the Holy Roman Emperor, who was excommunicated twice by papal bull. Excommunication is the severest form of punishment the church can enact against someone who commits grave crimes. The emperor was unique in his love and taste for knowledge. He used to read up on philosophy, logic, and medicine. This is why some have described him as the wonder of the world, Stupa Mundi. He was such an opponent of the church that it earned him the title of Antichrist. He was also accused of secretly being Muslim, who prayed with his teachers at every Muslim call to prayer. That was interesting. I enjoyed that. Oh. I enjoyed that. It's amazing how the history of Islam is just buried from today's society. Come on, bag. What? No admins are on. Do I believe that all different versions of the Old Testament and New Testaments are the same Torah and Injil of Allah? No, I don't. Because Libiano does. I disagree. No, I don't believe in any way, shape, or form can the Gospels be the Injil. It just logically makes no sense. How can a biography of Jesus be the book revealed to Jesus? It doesn't make any sense. It's terrible, isn't it? What do you reckon? Should we have a little bit of, should we have a little taste of TikTok? See if I can keep my chill on Sunday. Sunday chill. Palace are beating Tottenham as well. What do you reckon? Should we give people anyone here want to jump on or not? Could you explain what exactly the Q gospel is? Oh, so the Q gospel is basically it's a Christian theory as to where the information, the extra information found that isn't found in the Gospel of Mark, if I'm not wrong. So Gospel of Q, it will be the different information found in Matthew and Luke, which isn't found in Mark. So Matthew and Luke is an amalgamation of the Gospel of Mark plus something else. And this something else, if I'm not wrong, is what's referred to as the Q, the Gospel of Q. But we'll ask Fudge just to see whether or not I'm waffling. Don't think I'm waffling, but you never know. I could be waffling. The way past Hamza waffles, I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll see. Hey, Fudge.
Salam, Hamza. What's up?
Okay, so somebody asked me in my live stream chat today, what is the Gospel of Q? What would you say is the best explanation as to what is the Gospel of Q?
The Gospel of Q, often called the Q source, is a hypothetical collection of Jesus' sayings that scholars believe was used as a source for the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. The name Q comes from the German word Quelle, meaning source. It's not an actual manuscript that's been found, but rather a theoretical document inferred from the material common to Matthew and Luke, but absent in Mark. The best explanation is that it's a scholarly construct to explain the similarities in the sayings of Jesus found in both Matthew and Luke, suggesting they drew from a common source that no longer exists.
Interesting. I was on the nose. Shall we? We'll do like a half an hour TikTok. Yeah, so that's what the Gospel of Q is. It's just basically the sayings of Jesus that is not found in the Gospel of Mark, and because they're repeated in both Matthew and Luke, they believe that the authors of Matthew and Luke drew from some secret source that doesn't exist anymore. Ironically, a little bit like the Injil, actually. We'll do a 30-minute Sunday chill. TikTok it's crazy. It's crazy though. That's the only problem. And I'm chilling. And can I keep my chill is the question. I don't know. do we need? Oops. Whoops. Wa alaikum assalam, Ryan. How are you doing, mate? We're just doing a little bit of a Sunday chill. So we always like to see whether or not I can keep my chill with TikTok, because TikTok's mental. TikTok is mental. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I think it was my controller. Yeah, TikTok is mental. The comment section is oh, sorry. We know what they are. We can deal with them. But I enjoy them. I enjoy wrestling with the pigs. Yeah, the thing that Libiano does, and I think this is what you're misunderstanding, he's very, very generous, and he does a lot of internal critiquing. But I don't really do internal critiquing to a point, depending on how charitable I'm feeling. Do you get me? So Libiano, for the sake of argument, will concede. It's basically whether his kind of reasoning is more is your position justified by the text you read, which is not the same as I trust the text, I believe the text you read. So it's just, is your position justifiable? So, and or it's more like the lines of is your position consistent with the text you believe are true, type thing. So this is kind of the way that he rolls here. How you doing, TikTok? Who's here? What's the worst place I've ever visited? That's a great question. The worst place I've ever visited. Honestly? As a Muslim or as a non-Muslim? I've never been to India. I've been to a really, really bad place in Morocco. Really, really terrible place. Yeah, we're live on TikTok as well. Yeah. Do I consider coming to Indonesia? Maybe. Who knows? I do plan a world tour coming in the future. I mean, I remember I was going to this. I can tell you the story of Morocco. So I was looking for men's knitted topis for my Islamic stall. So I went to Casablanca, and I was asking people, where can I get these knitted topis from? And they were saying, oh, this particular region with a place called... Any Moroccans in the house from Casablanca, by the way? And any Maghribis from Casa? Alhamdulillah, Saima. And any Maghribis from Casa? You're from Al-Huksima. Where's Al-Huksima? If I tell you the place, you'll understand what I'm about to say. It's north. Okay, when you say north, are you saying like Tangier, Larache, that kind of region? Yeah, you got to know Casablanca to understand, I think. You got to know Casablanca to understand what I'm talking about. Because if you're from Casablanca and I tell you the name of the masjid, then you'll understand. Yes, mate.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
I'm calling you to repent
All right.
from your paganism.
Is it?
I want you to go to paradise, my friend.
Yep.
But as of right now, you're on the broad road to destruction.
Are you a Christian?
Yes, I am a Christian. I follow the way, the truth, the life. Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Why do you believe Christianity is true?
Because Jesus Christ is the truth.
No, why do you believe Christianity is true?
Because Jesus Christ is the truth. He's the God-man who died on the cross for the sins of the one who was raised from the dead.
Why do you
And
believe
he
Jesus was raised from the
manifested
dead?
himself to me.
Why do you believe Jesus was raised from the dead?
Excuse me?
How do you know Jesus was raised from the dead? One second. Go on. Yeah. So, why do you believe Jesus was raised from the dead?
Why?
Yeah.
Are you asking why do I believe it? Like, what do you mean?
Why do you believe Jesus rose from the dead?
Because it was written in the scriptures.
Why do you trust what those scriptures say is true?
Because it fulfills prophecy.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it was prophesied that Jesus will fulfill X, Y, and Z, and he did fulfill it.
Do you know what a self-fulfilled prophecy is?
Yeah, but you cannot make a prophecy be fulfilled when it comes to the birthplace. Your birthplace, right?
Why not?
Wait, so Jesus in the womb told his mother to birth them in Bethlehem?
No. Let's say, for example, let's say there was a prophecy that said a man God will be born in Bethlehem. For example, yeah. And somebody wanted to self-fulfill that. So they wrote Jesus was born in that exact place.
Oh, okay. So you think it's just all made up?
No, I'm just trying to understand. Do you understand the concept of self-fulfilled prophecy?
Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
No, do you understand the concept though?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So somebody writing something that fulfills something from the Old Testament just means that that person who wrote it could have manufactured that event to marry up with a perceived prophecy.
But we have multiple attestation to other things about Jesus too, which supports their narrative about him.
Where'd you get these attestations from?
Yeah, it's from Matthew, from John.
And do you believe these guys were eyewitnesses?
Yep.
Why?
Yeah, we have internal and external evidence. We have traditions that shows that Matthew knew the Christ, and we know we have traditions that John, the one he loved,
What traditions?
was
Okay.
an eyewitness.
So you believe Matthew was an
Jesus
eyewitness?
Christ. Yep.
Did the author of Matthew say he was an eyewitness?
Again, we have external evidence that he was.
No, did he say he was an eyewitness?
I'm not sure about that.
No, he didn't. Okay. So the author of Matthew never himself said he was an eyewitness. So somebody else has said he was an eyewitness. Okay. Was Mark an eyewitness?
But wait a minute, there's internal evidence suggesting that he was an eyewitness. Okay.
What's the
The
internal?
author uses first person there.
What's the internal?
What he witnessed.
Okay. First of all,
we have tradition that supports that.
First of all,
he was an eyewitness.
First of all, nowhere in the Gospel of Matthew does the author of Matthew say he is the one spoken about in the story.
I get that, but there's internal evidence.
No, there's no. The only internal evidence that you have is there was a tax collector called Matthew, spoken about in the Gospel of Matthew.
Okay.
But nowhere, anywhere in the Gospel of Matthew, does the author of Matthew say that's him.
Do you know the primary source that historians use to know about the historical Jesus?
I'm sorry?
Do you know the primary source that historians use to learn about the historical Jesus?
Your red herrings are not going to help you here. Okay.
It's not a red herring.
Do you know what historians do?
You're trying
Well,
to
let me explain something to you.
text
Okay.
When historians use this text to learn
Let
about
me
the
explain what
historical
historians do. Do historians report the truth, or do historians report what they believe occurred?
They try to report both. Like what?
Right. So who would they get the information from?
Where do they get their information from?
Who would they get their information from? Yes.
Who would they get their information from?
If you're a historian, and if you want to know what happened at the time.
Yeah, so the historian, even like atheist historians, right?
Yeah, so an atheist historian wants to know. I don't think atheist historians believe Jesus existed, if I'm not wrong. Anyway, we're digressing.
Well, that's like a fringe.
We're digressing. Let's continue. Okay. Do you believe the author of Mark was an eyewitness of Jesus?
No, he was. I don't think he was.
So the author of Mark.
No, but I didn't mention the book of Mark, did I?
No. So I don't know. We're just establishing something though. So the author of Mark is not an eyewitness, yeah?
Yeah, but I didn't mention the book of Mark.
Right, but the author of Matthew is an eyewitness.
Yes.
Okay. Did the author of Matthew copy anything from the author of Mark?
I don't think so, but it's possible.
Okay. Would it make?
How is this really?
Well, I'll tell you why it's relevant. Would you agree? Would you agree with me? Would you agree with me?
Then that's fine.
Would you agree with me that if the majority of what's in the Gospel of Matthew is copied verbatim from the Gospel of Mark, then that would kind of call into question whether the author of Matthew was indeed an eyewitness because he's taking verbatim information from a non-eyewitness.
Well, you don't have to prove that. So go ahead.
No. But I'm just saying, would that not make sense?
You don't have to prove. And by the way,
One second. I'm not interested in your by the ways. Your by the ways ain't going to help you, sir. Okay, so would you agree with me if the author of Matthew, copied verbatim the majority of what he writes from Mark, then that would call into question the eyewitness claim about Matthew?
Okay, go ahead and prove it.
No, let's first caveat whether or not it would or not.
Yeah, that wouldn't discredit the book of Matthew, but
It wouldn't.
How would it discredit the book of Matthew?
Well, it would show that the author of Matthew isn't who he. Sorry, he's not even making the claim. It would show. It would show that whoever says Matthew was an eyewitness who wrote his own eyewitness testimony was wrong. That's what it would show.
So you're saying, so you personally, you don't believe in the book of Matthew?
One second. I've got to take a call. My daughter's calling. 1 second. Okay, so what I'm saying is this: if Matthew copied from Mark, then the one who claims Matthew is an eyewitness would be wrong. Would you agree with that?
No, that doesn't logically follow.
Okay. Okay. Then I'll show you how it logically follows. So I'm now going to show you how you don't understand basic logic. Okay. So you're saying you went to a party, right? That I didn't go to. Okay. And then you copy what I say happened at the party when I wasn't even there when you was. Are you saying that's logical?
I mean, it's not logical to say that does not that discredits his book, his testimony.
Is it logical to say? Is it logical to say? Is it logical to say that if I went to a party or you went to the party, and then what you wrote, what happened at the party based upon my experience of not being at the party, is that logical?
Is that logical? I mean, I don't think you're using the word correctly, but let's just say this, all right? The book of Matthew.
What do you mean? Oh, okay. Is that a non sequitur?
I mean, that wouldn't discredit the book of Matthew.
Is that a non sequitur?
Okay, just to move it forward, yes. Okay, go ahead.
It's not a non sequitur. It does. The conclusion does follow the premise. If you claim to be at a party, and then you want to, and to tell everybody what happened at that party, you need to ask me who wasn't there. That calls into question: was you really there?
So your claim is that Matthew copied from Mark, even though the book of Matthew is way more detailed.
Yes.
And much more lengthy.
Yes.
Much more of a.
I believe the percentage is 90%. Verbatim.
Amazing. Now go ahead and substantiate that Matthew copied from Mark. Go ahead, please.
Just Google it, mate. Your Christian scholars say it. It's a.
you can't substantiate it. Okay, so if the book of Matthew.
Listen to me. It's not me saying it. It's Christian scholarship saying it. Okay.
You gotta substantiate claims.
Look. Here's what I don't do. Okay. I don't have to do anything. I want you. Okay, you can laugh, you can mock, you can joke. I don't care. I know there are some people who will give you chapter and verse. I don't roll that way. What I do, I get you to go and do your homework and realize it for yourself. Oh, okay.
I get it.
Well, here's your challenge. So here's my challenge. Here's my challenge to you. Go and find out, according to Christian scholarship consensus, whether or not Matthew copied 90% of what he writes in his gospel.
A consensus. So if I bring up a scholar that says it's not a consensus, what would you say?
Well, no, a consensus means the majority of scholarship. How can you bring up one who says it's not consensus? A consensus is not opinion. A consensus is a fact. If the majority agree, that's a consensus.
That's majority. Yeah, sure.
Right. So according to Christian scholarship, the author of Matthew copied 90% verbatim from the Gospel of Mark.
And you can't even give me a single source. That's interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what's interesting. I want you to now go and check what I'm saying is true or not.
Okay, so if the book of Matthew is wrong, then why did your prophet plagiarize from
it? Okay, I'll say it again to you. Look. None of this is going to help you.
Come on,
none of this scrabbling and the rocks is going to help you. Okay. Okay. So here's where I leave you, sir. Go and check out if what I've said is true, and all Christians watching, go check out if what I've said is true. Because if what I've said is true, then you have to agree whoever claimed Matthew was the author, was a witness, is incorrect. And then you have to now explain. Then you have to explain why you trust what the author says if he himself was not an eyewitness. Halas. That's it. Okay? So listen to me. You're a Christian. The question is about why you believe Christianity is true. You believe my prophet is a false prophet, so he shouldn't even come into question here. It's about you and why you believe what you do. Okay? So go away, do your research, and come back. All right?
Okay, go ahead and run.
This is not me running. This is me sending you home to do your homework. Right. Take care. That's why I love TikTok.
But this, I don't do. Like Lipiano now would give chapter and verse, but I don't do that. I know people like it, and it excites them in the Zakenoic mode. But me personally, I feel once you give kind of chapter and verse, people start giving some kind of ad hoc response to it, and I hate that. I'd rather go away. Hamza said this. Go and look, and then realize it for yourself on your own. On your own, look at it and go, "Wow, why do the majority of scholars believe this is true?" And if this is true, and I know Mark wasn't an eyewitness, why would Matthew require Mark's words? Do you get me? Alhamdulillah. I don't understand, right, Roman? They try to drag us into their paradigm, like you say. His paradigm is Muhammad's a false prophet, so it doesn't matter what he says. It really doesn't matter. Michael, what are you doing? Are you washing the dishes? I hope you're washing the dishes. It sounded like a little shake at the end there, man. Anyway, how can I help you?
That's funny. How's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How can I help you, sir?
So I just tuned in. I don't know, maybe a minute or two ago, and I really don't know what you're talking about. So I can't respond to any of that stuff. But I see that you're an atheist. Am I correct on that?
I'm a what?
Oh no, okay. You mentioned something about Muhammad.
Do you think I'm an atheist?
No, no. Actually, I take that.
Do I look like a mad scientist? I kind of do look like a mad scientist, don't I? You know what I mean? One of those guys in his mom's basement. I do need a haircut. I get that. Right, go on, man. How can I help you?
No, I just wanted to talk about whatever you got on your mind. Let me give you a background about myself. I am a believer. I do know the Bible. As an agnostic skeptic at 19, I started reading the Bible, going to church, but then I stepped out of the organized church because there's a lot of falsities and stuff like that. So I've been basically on my own, just basically studying. So that's just my background.
Okay.
But as to Muhammad and other religions, no, I don't agree.
What don't you agree with? What don't you agree with?
The teachings.
What teachings? Name one teaching of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that you disagree with.
Oh, one teaching?
Yeah.
Okay, that Jesus did not rise from the dead.
Okay. So you disagree?
Actually, which separates Christianity from a Muslim. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. And why do you believe Jesus rose from the dead? This is going to feel like deja vu. Why do you believe Jesus rose from the dead?
Okay. It's testified in recorded history. Where
in recorded history is it testified that Jesus rose from the dead?
Well, there's a lot of people who have many manuscripts.
Give me an example. Just give me an example, man.
Historians.
Just give me an historian. Which historian testified to Jesus rising from the dead?
No, they didn't testify to that. They said that the apostles claimed. Big difference. So
okay. And what does the Quran say? That's different to that.
The Quran says that God has no son.
No. With regards to crucifixion and such, what does the Quran say? How does the Quran differ from history? Historians.
The Quran believes the hadiths in the Quran.
No. How does the Quran differ on the crucifixion to recorded history?
It doesn't, they claim that he died,
No.
but they don't. Claim.
So does the Quran agree or disagree with recorded history when it comes to the crucifixion?
It agrees with the crucifixion, but it
No, listen to the question.
veers
Listen to the
away.
question. Listen to the question. Does the Quran agree or disagree with historians, yeah, on the crucifixion?
I'm not sure if they agree on every point because each historian has their own.
Okay, which historians are you referring to? Because you made the claim that the Quran is out of kilter with history, and so now you're agreeing that it actually agrees with history. So I'm kind of confused what the problem is.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking. Okay, the biblical history is different from the Quranic history.
No, we didn't say biblical history. We're talking about secular historians, yeah, historians outside of the Bible, yeah. We're talking about recorded history. This was your contention that that Muhammad, peace be upon him, says that Jesus wasn't crucified, and yet that goes against history. But now you're saying actually what the Quran says confirms what historians say. So what's the issue?
Not every there are historians that do believe that do see evidence for a resurrection.
No historian claims of a resurrection. Which historian claims Jesus rise from the dead?
There's historians that go through the manuscripts because all we have is the past manuscripts, and listen, Muhammad lived 600 years after Jesus. The manuscripts were already settled and scattered throughout the world.
I'll ask you again.
Hundreds.
Which secular historian? Which secular
he took the teaching.
Michael.
What was scattered throughout the world and just changed.
Michael. Which secular historian believes Jesus rose from the dead?
I can't name them off the top of my head.
Okay. So the Quran says Jesus wasn't crucified. Does that agree with history? Let me rephrase that. Sorry. The Quran says people believe. Sorry, I said that actually wrong. The Quran says that the people believed Jesus had been crucified. Yeah, that's what the Quran says. Does that agree or disagree with history?
Well, there's a lot of people who believed he was, and he wasn't.
No. Listen to the question. Listen to the question.
Pretty good documentary.
Listen to the question. The Quran says the people believed Jesus was crucified. Does the Quran confirm what history says about Jesus or not?
The earliest manuscripts.
Manuscripts of who?
Together the fact that he died.
Manuscripts of what?
The biblical manuscripts.
Right. Are you saying now biblical manuscripts are historical?
Of course they are. They were written
down
in the past.
So you believe the events that occurred in the Gospels actually occurred in history?
Well, that's the only way we can get back actually to the past. We can't do it scientifically or anything like that.
Right. So when the zombies arose after the crucifixion, you believe this occurred?
Now, that's quite easy to believe if you believe that God can raise himself from the dead.
Okay, yeah, I understand that. So do you believe when the zombies, the Walking Dead, in the Gospel of Matthew, that this event occurred in history?
Yes, not only do I believe that, but I believe what Jesus said, that he said one day everybody's going to hear the sound of his voice.
Forget that. Focus on my question. Focus on my question. Focus on my question. Focus on my question. So you believe after Jesus' crucifixion, the Walking Dead were walking and they were entering the towns and the cities and were witnessed by many. You think this occurred in history?
just like the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Why would that be harder to believe?
Well, the reason why it's hard to believe is nobody mentioned them. Nobody in history, the Romans, the Jews, nobody said there was zombies knocking on their door. Nobody.
But you're also just excluding a lot of the written down.
No,
manuscripts.
here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm
What did you
doing.
say?
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'll tell you what I'm doing. You got two choices here. Either the graves opened up and the zombies took to the earth and they entered into the towns and the cities and were witnessed by many, but nobody mentioned it in history. Nobody bothered to say anything about it. Nobody reported it. The Romans didn't speak about it. The Jews didn't speak about it. Nobody mentioned it. Or the author of Matthew just made up a story. They're your choices. Now, I want to ask you the question,
Well, Matthew,
why you believe what Matthew says is true and ignore the idea that nobody attested to zombies walking the earth.
so Matthew is one guy that claimed, just like Muhammad.
Let me rephrase this. Let me rephrase this.
Went to a cave and
Let me rephrase
so it's
this.
on that same level.
But this is the difference. Did Muhammad say that the angel in the cave was witnessed by many?
I don't remember.
No, he was on his own, wasn't he?
I do believe so.
So would we expect people to tell us that they saw the angel in the cave or not?
Of course, if they saw it.
No, listen to what I'm saying to you. If Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him, is in the cave on his own, seeing an angel, should we expect eyewitnesses?
If he's alone, you should not expect
Eyewitnesses. Agreed. Okay. If the zombies rose from the earth and entered the towns and the cities and were witnessed by many, should we then expect eyewitness testimony?
Of course.
Right. So it's a false equivocation between Muhammad alone in a cave.
No,
1 second.
because you're compared.
No, it's a false equivocation to say a man alone in a cave and zombies walking the earth witnessed by many is the same thing. It's a false equivocation, mate.
Right, but it's also a.
So do you agree that actually you bringing Muhammad in the cave has got nothing to do with my question I'm asking you? Because my question to you, not only should expect eyewitnesses, it actually says there were many eyewitnesses, but nobody mentioned it. The only person to ever mention it, John didn't mention it, Mark didn't mention it, Luke didn't mention it, Paul didn't mention it. Nobody mentioned it. Josephus didn't mention it, Tacitus didn't mention it, Pliny the Younger didn't mention it. Nobody mentioned it. No Roman centurion mentioned it. No peasant mentioned it. No Pharisee, no Sadducee. Nobody mentioned after the crucifixion of Jesus, there was the walking dead. Nobody. And yet the text says it was witnessed by many. So we got a problem. Why has nobody mentioned it?
There's a couple reasons. It wasn't too much longer that the Jews got absolutely wiped off the map in 70 AD.
Anybody? Nobody mentioned it.
And then secondly, absence of evidence is not evidence.
It is if you should expect to see evidence. You should expect to see it. Huh?
I mean, yes, and it is written down.
No, it's only written down by an unknown author called Matthew, yeah, who's a known liar, who's known to invent things, okay, and compared to the eyewitnesses. Huh? I'll give you another one. I'll give you one more. Okay, same author. Okay. Do you believe King Herod killed all the babies in Bethlehem?
It does say that under 2 years old.
Yeah, 2 years and below. You believe this happened in?
Bethlehem, though,
You believe this happened in history?
I don't know. I don't think it says Bethlehem, though.
It
It
doesn't.
says Ephrathah.
Where? Not Bethlehem.
Okay, go on.
Joseph and Mary didn't flee from Bethlehem to Egypt, no? They weren't in Bethlehem for the census, no?
They went,
Why did they go to Bethlehem? Why did Mary and Joseph go to Bethlehem?
because of the census.
Okay, so what does that tell you? So where were they?
It tells me that there was a world reset.
No, where were they? Where were they?
The new millennium.
Where were they?
The entire world recognizes that.
Where was Jesus born? Where was Jesus? Where was Jesus born? According to your text,
Bethlehem.
in Bethlehem. Where did King Herod order the killing of the babies? Would he order the killing of babies in Damascus?
Yeah.
Where did he order the killing of babies?
Okay, well, you tell me.
No, you're the Christian.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't remember.
You just we just said Jesus and Mary went to Bethlehem because of the census, yeah. Therefore, Bethlehem would have been packed with its citizens. Okay, and of course, Herod wanted to find the baby Jesus. So, according to Matthew, he told the wise men to go to interrogate to see whether or not he's
They
there.
didn't stay.
Sorry.
Right, but they didn't stay in Bethlehem. They only went to Bethlehem.
Where did they go after?
And
Okay.
because the
We can
census,
do it.
everybody had to go.
Oh, no problem. No problem. We do it this way. Where did they go after Bethlehem when Jesus was born? Where did they go? According to Matthew.
I don't remember, but ultimately they to Nazareth.
No, they went to Egypt to flee the persecution of the killing of the babies, to escape the cull, if you like. So Jesus, according to Matthew, Jesus was born in Bethlehem. King Herod ordered the killing of the babies in Bethlehem, and Joseph and Mary fled to Egypt with him to escape. So where was the killing taking place? Bethlehem.
I don't remember.
Bethlehem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And so now the question is this: did this happen in history? Did King Herod order the killing of babies in Bethlehem during the census?
Yeah, of course.
Why do you believe that?
It doesn't say that every single baby died.
Why do you believe King Herod ordered?
Here now, and it's not going to be done.
Why do you believe King Herod ordered such an abominable act?
I don't know, but if that happened 100 years ago, nobody would remember that compared to this.
Well,
crash going on.
I've heard of a guy called Flavius Josephus.
It's not going to last 2,000 years.
Have you heard of a guy called Flavius Josephus?
Wither.
Have you heard of a guy called Flavius
Yes,
Josephus?
sir.
Yeah?
Yes.
Who was he?
Yes. Historian.
A historian of what?
The Jews.
Okay. And did he say anything about King Herod?
I do believe so.
What did he say?
Through Pontius Pilate, he talks about how that Jesus was crucified by the Romans.
All right. Flavius Josephus wrote a book, documenting all the atrocities King Herod committed. So he wrote a specific book,
Okay.
writing about all the horrible things King Herod did, documenting it all. Did he mention killing babies in Bethlehem?
I'm not sure.
No,
Have you studied all his writ?
no,
You know, because one book doesn't mean he didn't have 2 or 3, and they just got destroyed through
No.
history.
no.
See, absence of evidence is not evidence, sir.
The absence of evidence is evidence of absence if the evidence should be
Well, when it comes
expected.
Right, but when it comes to history of like 2,000 years ago, it's like 99.999% of everything written is lost.
But everything you have is from that. Everything you have is from that time frame with regards to what you believe to be true. What are you talking about?
Right, but just because
Your gospels are lost. You don't have your original gospels. We know that. Your earliest gospels are 4th century. We know this. 400 years after.
Actually, they're most documented because they scattered like wildfire.
No, your oldest. What's your oldest manuscript you have? Complete manuscript in New Testament. What's your oldest?
Right. When it scatters throughout the world, they gather it.
What's your
That's how
oldest?
you can reconnect.
What's your oldest complete manuscript? What century?
The manuscript specifically,
Yeah,
or Bible?
it's the same thing. Your manuscript. Your Bible is a translation of the manuscript. Go on. Your earliest manuscripts.
Well, it's a compilation of multiple manuscripts, over 10,000 that are gathered.
No. What's your earliest complete manuscript?
That's how history's put together.
What's your earliest complete manuscript? You don't even understand your own manuscript history now. I'm got no disrespect, Michael. You're a really nice guy, but I'm beginning to kick a puppy now, and it's not feeling good. I don't like to do this.
Understand that you're going to know things that I don't know.
I understand. No, but the problem is, you see, everything you're believing is premised on things that are not true. That's the problem.
No, actually.
But you think that, like for example, I don't really want to go into this in detail because I do need to go soon. But do you believe the authors of the Gospels were eyewitnesses to what they wrote?
The 12 apostles.
The gospel writers.
Were one of the 12 apostles.
Yeah, the gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Do you think they were eyewitnesses to what they wrote?
The 12 apostles were.
No, was the authors of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the disciples eyewitnesses of Jesus or not? Or do you believe they were?
No.
They weren't.
Matthew and Mark wasn't. Luke, I don't know, wasn't. Now they may have followed.
So Matthew wasn't, Mark wasn't, Luke wasn't.
John was, and Matthew and John were one of the 12 apostles.
Oh, okay. So now you fell into the same trap as the previous guest as to why would Matthew copy from Mark if he wasn't an eyewitness?
As a historian, just like when Mark, or actually Luke, wrote the book of Acts, and so he wrote down as a historian himself, documenting the things that he saw, heard, and stuff like that.
No. That's incorrect. According to Luke, he took eyewitness testimony. He tried to find eyewitnesses to the events. He listened to what people said occurred 40 years prior.
We are assuming it's 40 years prior. It could have been immediately after. We don't know. When it's written down and when it happens are two separate things. Because actually, technically, you can't scientifically pinpoint down a date between the time it was written.
We can't.
Time it happened.
According to Christian scholarship, when was Luke written?
I don't care about Christian scholarship.
Oh, you don't care about? Okay. Okay.
No.
One second. You just said something now. You don't care about Christian scholarship. Can I ask you, sir, are you a Christian scholar?
I don't.
Are you a historian?
I don't have any technical title on that.
Oh, okay, but do you have the academia to be a scholar or a
academically?
Are you a historian?
What I'm saying is, I know a lot of history.
Okay. When I say Christian, when I say the words Christian scholar, how are you understanding that?
I'm understanding it as a cookie cutter type person that is forced and indoctrinated and brainwashed specifically what to believe by going through a college, government, state school system, and that's what they learn. Now, some of it's atheistic.
Just so I understand.
Yeah,
so you
forced.
believe. One second. You believe you know more than someone who's more qualified than you, has actually done the research and spent their lives understanding these texts and the historical reliance upon these things, you believe you know better than them. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying I'm better as a person than them. What I'm saying is I do see through.
Well, you just threw them under the bus, mate.
Lies.
You just threw them under the bus. You just said these people who are more. One second. These people who are more knowledgeable than you, more experienced than you, have actually done the research, have actually been peer reviewed, and have agreed with each other that they're all wrong and you're right. That's basically what you're saying.
No. Well, first of all, peer review is only people patting each other.
Michael, go continue and have a wonderful Sunday. Go have your wonderful Sunday, dude. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My God. How can you help people, man? How can you say those people who've researched and studied and they're Christians? They're Christians, but they go with the facts. They go with the evidences. They say, look, we know Matthew copied 90% from Mark. We know that the Q source is the extra information not found in Mark. We know this. We know that Clement of Alexandria said that Peter never endorsed or encouraged the reading of the Gospel of Mark. We know these things through Christian scholarship. And for a Christian to turn around, I don't care what my experts have to say. I know more. Anyway, it's been real. I'm going to go now. And inshallah, TikTok is always a pleasure. Sorry for you guys didn't get on. Maybe next time. It's been fun. It's been real. Take care. Assalamu alaikum to my Muslim brothers and sisters, and peace out to everyone else. And that, as they say, was like... Thank you, Rose. Yeah, I've been ill since last Saturday. The cough is still remaining, but everything else is kind of gone. So that was good. But TikTok's always a pleasure. And the first guy was the funniest. Repent. Why? And I've watched a lot of these TikToks and a lot of these videos, and the premises are just so bad. And you know, and when you speak to a Christian, ask him why he believes what he does, Islam is nothing to do with your response. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is nothing to do with your response. Your response is to why you believe what you believe. And I haven't been to the doctor yet. Maybe if I'm still got it by Tuesday, I will, because I'm not working Tuesday. So, alhamdulillah. We get lovely clips from TikTok. Ah, subhanallah. Good to see me, Hamza. I was getting worried because I haven't seen any posts on here. Yeah. I haven't been on all week because I've been sick all week. But alhamdulillah, I've got this cough that I'm trying to recover from. Oh, we've got a guest here on YouTube. Let's see what this one guy's got to say. Oh, 1 second. Bismillah. I'm loving the name. Yes, Paul.
Yeah, well, what's correct? Yeah, I just want to talk about how can you debunk Sam Shimon when he debunked Islam too much?
Your mic is really bad, mate.
Oh, I'm wearing headphones. That's the only thing I can do.
It's a little bit crackly. What was your question?
Yes, I watched Sam Shimon's videos on debunking Islam, and I just want you to speak to that.
He's more than welcome to come to the arena with his debunking. We had the 90th. Do you know what the arena is?
Yes.
Yeah, we had episode 90 last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Has Sam Shimon ever come on?
No, I don't know. I think I might have seen one video of you and Sam Shimon and somebody else maybe.
No.
I don't have photographic memory, but
no.
He's
I'm
never
not-
come on.
no,
He's
no,
never
no.
come on. So
No,
the
but-
guy who makes a
Yeah.
living. One second.
Uh-huh.
The guy
Yeah.
the guy who makes a living of challenging Islam has
Mhm.
never once set foot in the arena, which is a whole platform set up to challenge Islam.
Mhm.
Why don't
Yeah.
you think that? Why do you think that is?
I'm not sure why, because his arguments seem, I don't want to, ruffle feathers, but it seems very logical and it makes sense to me.
So yeah, why do you think he's never once dared step foot in the arena with these arguments?
I would love to ask him.
Ask him why he's never been on the arena.
It would be good. But that's a good question. And also, but it's not like just because of that doesn't mean he's flawed, is it? Or whatever, or
No. But
wrong.
it makes you think. This is a man, I'll explain again, who makes a living out of challenging Islam. Makes a living.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And insulting Islam and what he does. Okay. He knows the arena exists. He knows where it is. He knows Hamza's den. He knows the arena. And yet 90 episodes, he's not once shown his face. My question, that would say to me, he likes picking on weak little Christians, but when it comes to the gladiators, he's scared to death. He knows.
Why would he be scared?
I'll explain to you, because once he gets shown that his arguments are so bad, because here's one thing I don't do. Yeah, I don't deal in egos. I'm not interested in personalities. All I care about is
but
arguments.
But everyone has an ego, and everyone is.
No. You're missing the point.
You're
You're missing the point. If San Shimon came onto the arena, I would only care about one thing. What's his argument? And crush that. That's the only thing I care about. Whether it's Sam Shimon presenting that argument or whether it's you presenting that argument. Why don't you come on the arena with one of Sam Shimon's strongest arguments and see how long it flies? Actually, I'll make it even easier. I'll make it even easier for you.
Yeah.
What's the best argument against Islam Sam Shimon has made that you've seen that's convinced you? And you could do it here. And I'm on my own. I got no backup. What's the best argument?
I'm not like I say, I don't have photographic memory, and his arguments are very complex. And I don't mean that as in
I'll give you one. I'll give you one word about Sam Shimon.
Yeah.
Rhetoric. His rhetoric is on point, and he could make you look wrong, even if he's wrong, based upon his rhetoric. But with me, I have an immunity to rhetoric. Rhetoric doesn't work on me. I ignore it. It just washes over me, and I just focus on the facts. Whereas what happens when you deal with someone with rhetoric, you end up arguing the rhetoric. But I know the rhetorical devices that is employed, and I don't bite. And I just deal with what you're saying, why you're saying it. Halas.
Yes.
So what you're saying, what's the premise behind what you're saying, as such. So do you have an idea? Do you have one argument in mind that you think is really strong against Islam?
Yes, probably.
Which one?
So I would say the Muhammad's character.
His character. What did he do?
What he done? So he was a warlord, wasn't he?
One second. Okay. So let's do it. So let's say he's a warlord.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a warlord?
Someone who is in command of an army.
Oh, okay. And is being a warlord wrong?
No, but your actions being a warlord could be wrong.
Oh, okay. So being a warlord is not a problem. You agree?
I think a warlord is a problem. I wouldn't be one.
Oh, no, I'm not asking you that question. Does God think being a warlord is a problem? Because that's what matters.
God? No, depending on if God has given the sort of right or the okay to be a warlord.
So if God told Muhammad that he could go to war, you've got no issue with that?
If God did it, yes.
Okay. Did he do what he did for the sake of God?
No.
No? Who did he do it for?
No. Allah.
What? Yeah, okay. You can't switch paradigms. If you're going to go into Muhammad's paradigm, did he believe God was telling him what to do? Yes or no?
His God, yes.
There's only one God. The God of did he believe the God of Abraham was telling him what to
There
do?
is only one God, but
Okay.
their characters are very different.
Paul, did he believe the God of Abraham was telling him what to do? Yes or no?
Yes, but was he?
Oh, okay. So in his paradigm, was he doing anything wrong if he went to war because he believed God was telling him to go to war?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again? I'm just
Okay.
trying to
So if he
Uh-huh.
believed the God of Abraham was telling him to go to war
Mhm,
and he went
mhm,
to war on
mhm,
that behest,
mhm.
would he have
Uh-huh.
been doing anything wrong?
No. If see, the problem is he believed. It's not truth.
Oh
Just
no,
because you
no.
believe in
You can't say it's not true. You can believe it's not true, but you can't say it's not
Ah.
true. Okay. Now, what if he was killing men, women, and children? Would that be wrong, even if God told him to do so? Is that okay?
If God told him to do so, no, because it's from God.
So he could kill men, women, and children if God says so.
If God says so, God can dictate anybody to do anything.
Oh, okay. And has God told his prophets to kill men, women, and children?
Yes, but the only thing is, prophets. I don't believe in prophets. I don't know what, like, say for example, I don't know what makes Muhammad a prophet. For example.
Was Moses a prophet?
Yes.
Was he a warlord?
No.
No.
No, not a warlord.
Did he not kill men, women, and children? Order the killing of men, women, and children, and babies and donkeys?
Where are you getting this from?
I'm asking you the question, mate.
I'm not too sure.
You're not too sure.
I do. No. Like
okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not too sure because that's not what I think matters. What I go by is what Jesus talked about.
No.
Said.
It doesn't work that way. You can't come away and say one man's character.
Why would I listen to anybody else?
I'll explain why.
Uh-huh.
Because according to you, Muhammad had bad character because he was a warlord.
Uh-huh.
According to you.
Not just that.
Well, no. You started with that, so we're going to deal with what you started with. I'll underline as we go. I don't mind. Yeah. I'm here to school you today. No problem. Okay. So
No problem. Yeah.
so you had a problem with Muhammad being a warlord. Yeah, but you have no problem with Moses killing men, women, and children, ordered by God, and you believe God is Jesus, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you believe Jesus ordered the killing of men, women, and children, yeah, innocent babies, yeah?
No, not Jesus.
Well, if God tells Moses to do something, is that Jesus telling him to do that thing?
No, because Jesus is a different person.
What do you mean Jesus is a different person?
Jesus didn't directly tell Moses to.
So who told Moses to do what he did?
Probably God.
But isn't Jesus God?
Jesus is God. Yes, but Jesus.
So who told Moses to kill men, women, and children?
The God before Jesus came.
Was Jesus not existing before he came?
No, Jesus wasn't born.
Did he exist prior to his birth?
God did, but Jesus wasn't born. The distinct person of Jesus wasn't born yet.
So before Jesus was born, what was God? What was God?
What was God?
What was the nature of God?
The nature of God is it's beyond comprehension.
Did the Son exist before he was born?
But before Jesus was born? No.
According to who?
According to logic, common sense, or whatever. Because Jesus, well, I think this
is that what the Athanasian Creed teaches you as a Christian? Are you a Christian?
Yes, I would call myself a Christian, but I don't go to. I don't.
You're a heretic, mate.
People. Huh?
You're a heretic according to Christianity.
What do you mean?
That's not what you're saying. Is not Christianity. Christianity is the Athanasian Creed.
I believe
the idea that Jesus has always existed, eternally begotten by the Father. Not the idea that.
The thing is, God so humbled himself to become man, and then he was just incarnate as Jesus. So there was God, and then there was Jesus.
So you believe God became a man?
Yes.
So, and is Jesus the Father?
No, he's the Son.
So the Son is not the Father?
No.
Did the Son exist before he was born?
I'm not too sure. No, because
All right, so
it's God. Go
did
ahead.
the Holy Spirit? Does the Holy Spirit exist?
Did the Holy Spirit exist? Yes.
So it was the Father and the Holy Spirit before Jesus was born. Is that right?
I think so. Yes.
When was Jesus born?
Where was Jesus born?
When?
When? About 2,000 years ago.
All right. So you believe God's nature in the beginning was two persons rather than three,
I'm not too sure because I'm not God.
according to what you believe as a Christian.
According to what I believe as a Christian, there was God, right? Then Jesus or God so humbled himself to become a man.
All right. Okay.
To teach us a better way of life.
Here's what I want you to do.
Yeah.
Go and tell Sam Shimon this is your beliefs, and he will insult you more than he would insult me.
No, he wouldn't.
I challenge you. I challenge you. Go to Sam Shimon and say, "This is what I believe as a Christian."
But
yeah, and he'll probably call your mother. He'll probably call your mother a whore. Probably. Yeah.
No, he won't. No.
Go and tell him. Man. All right, go on. Say, look, Sam. This is what I believe Christianity to be true. I don't believe Jesus existed prior to 2,000 years ago. I believe in the beginning it was just the Father and the Holy Spirit.
Know that. I don't know that.
No. I just said actually what you believe based upon as a Christian.
No, but that's not a belief because I don't know. A belief is when you know something or believe in something. I don't.
No. The belief is when you accept a proposition. You accept something to be true. You convince something to be true. You trust something to be true. You have faith in that thing being true. That's what belief is. So I asked you, based upon what you believe as a Christian, based upon the text you read, based upon Christian scholarship, based upon your church fathers, based upon the Athanasian Creed, what do you believe Jesus' nature was prior to him being born? And you said didn't exist.
Well, I don't know. No, I didn't say he didn't exist. I said I don't know.
Well, no, I asked you the question, did he exist before he was born? You said no.
Well, I don't know.
So here's the thing you see. You're critiquing another religion where you yourself know nothing about your own.
Oh, I do know a lot about my own.
You know nothing.
No, I do.
You didn't know Moses was a warlord. You didn't know Moses killed men, women, and children, instructed by God.
That's not my...
You didn't know these things, and yet you're trying to critique Muhammad for being a warlord when your Bible is full of warlords, sanctioned by God. Killing men, women, and children.
Yes, but
Islam follows
Muhammad and Christianity follows Jesus.
Paul, you just
not Moses.
So my advice to you is, before you can critique something else, understand your own position first, and make sure when you do critique that it doesn't compromise your own position based upon your own standards. So don't double standard it. All right.
If you look at the Carter and what they've done,
Paul, I want you to go to Sam. I want you to go to Sam and tell him what you've said. What you believe Jesus' nature is.
How can you believe Muhammad was a good person?
And that's that. And
how can you believe Muhammad was a good person?
Until you do that, we can't continue.
But Jesus was better. Jesus was a better man to follow.
You take care. All the best. I can't even bear that mic any longer either. It's worse than TikTok. Oh, it's worse than TikTok. But there's a question to be asked. Why has Sam, in 90 episodes of The Arena, never shown his face?
It's time for the arena. It's time for the arena. Calling all Christians, calling all atheists. It's time for the arena. It's time for the arena.
Where's Logic? Where's Sam Shimon?
They'll never turn up on streams like this.
Where are they? Where's David? They know about the arena. They talk about it. Where's Christian Prince? All you triggered people in the chat, you're welcome to come and join us, man. Exactly. We're happy.
Why would they join us? If I were them, I wouldn't want to join either, right? I mean, their convictions are clearly only surface level. If I was a Christian or an atheist or a Hindu, this would be the one stream I would avoid. And if you're sitting at home behind a computer and you don't have the courage to bring forward your religion and share it with others, discard your religion. It's just that simple. You don't believe in it enough to care about it. So why should we?
The Arena, challenge Islam or defend your belief. Live on YouTube, Friday the 18th of April. Can you take on the challenge?
I mean, we do broadcast it. It's not like we secretly do it. It's every 2 weeks, potentially going to be every week. And and you know, if Sam Shimon has got such rough, tough arguments against Islam, bring it to the boys in the arena. Why in 90 minutes, 90 minutes, sorry, in 90 episodes of the arena has he never shown up once? And we know they live stream at the same time as the arena. Woody, Sam, Logic, they could quite easily, one of them just jump on and have the two backing them up in the background. Why? Because their arguments are weak. Weak. And just because, and here's a good lesson as well for people. Just because you may not have a response to an argument at a particular moment in time doesn't mean you don't have a response to that particular argument. It just means you might not have your hands on the response. There's nothing that they've offered that can challenge Islam. Why are they not coming to the arena with the Islamic dilemma? Why is Woody not coming there with his confident speech of the Islamic dilemma? Why are they not coming? Because there is no dilemma. But they'll bully weak Christians. You've seen me. When I realize a Christian is so weak and so pathetic, I don't stick the boot in. I just end it. I say, look, this is too much for you. I need to end this because I'm kicking a puppy at this stage. But they will revel in it. They will revel in glory of kicking that puppy all around this place. Whereas me, I'm like, well, wait a minute, this is too much for you. Just like that last guy, Michael. It was way, way too much for him. Just like the guy before Michael, some guy with an Arabic name. I don't know if it's a kafir or whatever. I don't know what it said. But when they're out their depth, I don't drown them. There are some people who will drown them, but I don't want to drown them. I want them to, look, you need dragging to the shore. You need to be left on the beach, and you need to reflect. And I just hope the previous guests we've had, I hope the previous guests that we've had do that. Go there. Hamza said this. You get me? Let me just ask Fudge if I might be wrong. Let's do a quick Fudge because we've had it today. But there's one more Fudge. Hey Fudge.
Salam, Kamza. What's new?
Did you call me Kamza?
Of course. What's on your mind?
What did you call me? What name did you call me?
I called you Hamza. Let me know if you'd prefer something else.
No, you said Kamza. You didn't say Hamza.
Oh, my bad. I meant to say Hamza. Thanks for catching that.
But why? All right, I'm not going to go there. Okay, a question for you. She said Kamza.
Fire away. What's your question?
We've recorded you. We've got you recorded. Okay. Anyway, so the question is this. Okay. According to the consensus or majority of biblical scholarship, what percentage of the Gospel of Matthew is copied verbatim from the Gospel of Mark?
According to the consensus of biblical scholarship, roughly 80% of the Gospel of Mark is found in the Gospel of Matthew, often word for word. This substantial overlap supports the theory that Matthew used Mark as a primary source when composing his own gospel.
Why would a man who's supposed to be a primary source need to copy for somebody who's not a primary source?
That's a great question. The idea is that the Gospel of Mark was likely the earliest written account of Jesus' life that we have, composed around 60 to 70 CE. Matthew, written a bit later, used Mark as a foundational source.
Yeah, but if Matthew was an eyewitness personally, why would he need the testimony of a non-eyewitness?
That's one of the key points scholars discuss. The traditional view is that Matthew, as an apostle, was an eyewitness. However, many modern scholars believe the author of Matthew might not have been the apostle himself, but an early Christian who compiled and expanded upon existing sources. Using Mark would provide a concise narrative framework that Matthew could then supplement with additional teachings, stories, and theological insights. This approach was common in ancient historiography, where later writers built upon earlier works to create more comprehensive texts.
But then, wouldn't that then indicate that the author of Matthew wasn't an eyewitness?
Exactly. That's one of the main arguments for the position that the author of Matthew wasn't the apostle Matthew himself. The reliance on Mark and other sources suggests the author was more of a compiler or theologian working from earlier traditions and texts, rather than an eyewitness recording personal memories.
So then, should he be trusted in what he says, as if it was eyewitness testimony, like the zombies when he speaks about the zombies after the crucifixion, if no one else mentions it?
That's a significant point of debate among scholars and theologians. If the author of Matthew wasn't an eyewitness, then the account is viewed more as a theological interpretation or a community-based tradition rather than direct testimony. Unique events like the resurrection of the dead described in Matthew are often interpreted symbolically or
I'm not interested in symbolic. I'm interested in history. Did anyone else in history mention the Walking Dead?
From a purely historical standpoint, no other contemporary sources mention the event of the dead rising and appearing to many after Jesus' crucifixion, as described in Matthew.
Wouldn't that be strange if they appeared to many?
It certainly raises questions. If such a remarkable event had happened and was witnessed by many, it would be unusual for it not to appear in other historical records or writings of the time. This lack of external confirmation is one reason why many scholars view that passage as a theological or literary addition rather than a historical account.
Yeah, doesn't Mike Lacona believe it's a fabrication?
Yes, Michael Lacona, a well-known New Testament scholar, has indeed suggested that the account of the saints rising in Matthew could be a form of apocalyptic imagery or even a symbolic or legendary addition rather than a literal historical event. His perspective aligns with those who see this passage as part of Matthew's unique theological narrative rather than a straightforward historical report.
So that would then mean that when you read Matthew, you're not necessarily reading history.
Right, exactly. Many scholars approach the Gospel of Matthew as a blend of history, theology, and literary artistry. It's a text that aims to convey religious truths and the significance of Jesus' life.
What about the killing of the babies in Bethlehem? Does Matthew write about that?
Yes, Matthew is the only gospel that mentions the massacre of the infants in Bethlehem, often called the Massacre of the Innocents. According to Matthew, King Herod ordered this in an attempt to kill the newborn Jesus. Like the resurrection of the saints, this event isn't corroborated by other historical sources, which leads some historians to question its historical accuracy. It's often viewed as a narrative designed to draw parallels between Jesus and Moses, highlighting the idea of Jesus as a new deliverer for the people.
But then doesn't this throw more shade on author of Matthew, as in he's inventing historical events to fulfill prophecy?
It definitely adds to the debate about the nature of the Gospel of Matthew. Many scholars believe that the author shaped certain narratives to highlight Jesus' fulfillment of Hebrew scriptures and prophecies, which was a common practice in ancient biographical and religious writings. This approach aimed to reinforce theological points rather than serve as a strictly historical record, which does influence how these texts are interpreted.
All right, thanks. So everything I've said today has just been clarified and fact-checked by Fudge. Yeah, the idea of the dead rising, the idea of Herod killing the babies. Only Matthew mentions these two events, two remarkable events. One had with the Walking Dead was witnessed by many, yet nobody spoke about it. Yeah, the killing of the babes, killing of the innocent by King Herod. It should be in the book by Josephus about all the atrocities King Herod committed. So where we should expect to find evidence of these two events, we find nothing. We find absolutely nothing. So the question needs to be then, who is this author of Matthew? Because he certainly can't be disciple of Jesus, added to the fact that he copied from a non-eyewitness.
which shows he himself was not an eyewitness. And it also fulfills what I said earlier as well about self-fulfilling prophecy, because what Matthew did, he invented history to support alleged prophecies of the past. So with the story of the King Herod killing the babes, and then after King Herod died, I shall call my son from Egypt, as the prophet said, Isaiah, I shall call my son from Egypt. No, Hosea, I shall call my son from Egypt. But it's completely butchered. And he does this on numerous occasions when he talks about the weeping of Leah, as if she's weeping for the children of the babes, where it's something completely different. And it's the wrong sister. It should be Rebecca weeping, not Leah, because these would be her descendants. So it was. Let me just see if I've got the book. 1 second. Hey, Ben, I just want to show you this. I've not even opened it yet. Look at that, man. I was going to take this to when we went to Turkey 2 years ago. Anyway, I found the book. One second. This is the book I'm referring to, The Cross and the Crescent by Gerald Dirk. If people don't know who Gerald Dirk is, I'll tell you who Gerald Dirk is. SubhanAllah, he's passed away now. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. But this is who he was, yeah. In The Cross and the Crescent, Dr. Gerald Dirk, a former ordained minister in the United Methodist Church and a graduate of Harvard Divinity School, reaches out to the Christians and Muslims for an interfaith dialogue, drawing on his seminary education and 30 years of interaction with Muslims in America and overseas. The author digs deep into the roots of Christianity to bring out obscure information that highlights what was once common between Christianity and Islam. He envisioned that in writing this book, I would like to touch the lives of those Christians who have not been given the knowledge that I have gained both about Islam from my direct contact with Muslims and about Christianity from my seminary education. I want to share with those Christians who are willing to listen what is often known by their clergy and church leaders, but seldom finds its way into their knowledge of their own religion. Likewise, I would like to reach out to the Muslims in order to help them understand the religious commonality that they share with Christians. Dr. Dirk holds BA and Div from Harvard University, MA, and PsyD from University of Denver. He has published over 60 articles in the field of clinical psychology and over 150 articles on Arabian horses. Bit weird. Anyway, if you could get a hold of this book, it is such a very, very good book, The Cross and the Crescent. I was going to reach out to him with regards when I was going to write my book about Matthew, but subhanAllah, he's passed away. I may reach out to his widow. May still do that to see if I can get his research material on this. But let me just read you the part about King Herod and the weeping of Leah. There's so many things Matthew gets wrong, and here's just one. This is just one of them. Okay, sorry, Rachel's weeping. So listen to this. While presenting the background to case 4, Matthew maintains that King Herod had all the children in the age group of 2 or younger killed in Bethlehem. And Matthew presents this act as being prophetic. So this is what he says. When Herod saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, he was infuriated, and he sent and killed all the children in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years older or under, according to the time that he had learned from the wise men. Then was fulfilled. Now listen to this now. This is Matthew now, yeah. Then was fulfilled what had been spoken through the prophet Jeremiah. A voice was heard in Ramah, wailing and loud lamentation, Rachel weeping for her children. She refused to be consoled because they are no more. So what Matthew is doing here, he's indicating that Rachel was crying for the children of Bethlehem who King Herod killed. So not only did Matthew invent this story, he tried to add prophecy to it. So this is an indication that the author of Matthew is manipulating prophet. You know, self-fulfilling prophecy? So Rachel is weeping for her children. She refused to be consoled. They are no more. Once again, Matthew has ripped a statement completely out of context. The relevant Old Testament passage from the book of Jeremiah is quoted immediately. Thus says the Lord, a voice in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rachel is weeping for her children. She refused to be comforted for her children because they are no more. Thus says the Lord, keep your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for there is a reward for your work, says the Lord. They shall come back from the land of the enemy. There is hope for your future, says the Lord. Your children shall come back to their own country. Indeed, I heard Ephraim pleading, you disciplined me, and I took the discipline. I was like a calf untrained. Bring me back. Let me come back, for you are the Lord my God. As can clearly be seen when the passage in Jeremiah is examined at close quarters, the statement paraphrased by Matthew has whatsoever nothing to do with messianic prophecy. Once again, the actual Old Testament passage talks about the deportation of the 10 tribes of the northern kingdom of Israel to Assyria in the 8th century BCE. This is the only possible interpretation of the passage from Jeremiah. This is clearly understood when one knows that Rachel was the mother of Joseph, whereas Leah was the mother of Judah, and the son of Joseph was Ephraim. It must be borne in mind that the name of that Israelite sub-tribe was often used to refer to all of the 10 lost tribes of the northern kingdom of Israel. Further, Judah and his descendants, not Ephraim, were associated with Bethlehem. Thus, the descendants of Judah living in Bethlehem were the children of Leah and not of Rachel. Still further, the passage of Jeremiah specifically says that the children are in the land of the enemy, Assyria, which makes it clear that, that the children are not dead. Thus, the passage from Jeremiah predicts incorrectly that the children will return to Palestine from Assyria. Finally, it's interesting and convincing to note that while Ramah was about 6 miles north of Jerusalem, Bethlehem was about 6 miles south of Jerusalem, which goes to prove that even the geography doesn't fit with the Matthean account of the reported slaughter of the children of Bethlehem. Clearly, Matthew has misrepresented Jeremiah and has paraphrased a passage from Jeremiah well out of its context. Once again, Matthew has stretched the fabric of an Old Testament passage until it has torn. Moreover, there is no other passage in the entire New Testament or in any secular writing that mentions King Herod's slaughtering of the children in Bethlehem. Even the 1st century CE Jewish historian Flavius Josephus, who takes such evident pain to detail King Herod's abuses, fails to make any reference to this alleged barbaric act of Herod. It is therefore difficult to accept as historically reality the mass killing of children in Bethlehem, a supposed event that totally escapes attention from everyone except from Matthew. One solution to this dilemma is to posit that Matthew fabricated the entire story of the slaughter of the children in Bethlehem. In that regard, the motive would have been once again to create a parallel between the lives of Jesus and Moses. Exodus states that the Pharaoh of Egypt had all male children of Hebrews in Egypt put to death. Moses, however, escaped this fate by being placed in a basket on the river, and he was then found and nurtured by none other than the Pharaoh's daughter. Matthew appears to be reaching out once again for a hidden prophetic fulfillment of Deuteronomy. The prophet, like Moses, in brief, the compiler of Matthew, appears to have fabricated the story of the slaughter of the children in order to create a parallel between Jesus and Moses. He then attempts to camouflage his fabrication by misrepresenting a passage from Jeremiah and by using it as a claim of fulfillment of messianic prophecy. So this is like, subhanallah, this is like evidence. It's, you know, it's not like errors. It's not like the author of Matthew is making errors and mistakes. He's actually deliberately misrepresenting, deliberately lying and inventing stuff. Subhanallah. So I don't know who's paying attention to that, but that was that was golden information that when you speak to Christians, you can utilize. I'm not sure what are you talking about in the chat. Food? Anyway, on that note, I'm going to bid you a fond farewell. She did say Kamsa. I know. So anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you, Iram. Thank you, Hajira, for sloping in at the end. Thank you, Bilal, for being here. I shall catch you guys next time. I'll be doing Shop Live tomorrow, I believe, inshallah. So until then, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oh, before I go, I'll probably be doing some DayZ in a bit. So keep an eye out for that. If you're into watching me play DayZ, I'll probably be doing some DayZ in a little bit, in a short while. So, yep, I'm out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Here comes the light.